GLM 5.2 hit 84.5% retrieval accuracy at 50K tokens for just 0.04 per trace, and Kimi K3 has 0 public benchmarks to match it. Kimi K3 does something GLM 5.2 flat out cannot do, and that gap might make GLM 5.2's numbers completely irrelevant for your stack. Both models dropped recently and both are getting real attention from builders, so I went through the official docs, independent benchmarks, and hands-on reviews, comparing GLM 5.2 versus Kimi K3 across 5 real tests. No vendor money, no cherry-pick stats. The final call here comes down to one capability gap that makes the whole benchmark conversation kind of beside the point, and I don't think most people choosing between these two are thinking about it the right way. Alright, so who is this comparison actually for? If you're a developer or a product team picking a model for a Chinese language app, a long doc pipeline, or anything that touches images or video, this decision involves real money and real workflow time. Picking the wrong one means rebuilding later, and that's a pain nobody wants. Test 1, long context reasoning. Both models claim a 1M token context window, which sounds great until your model starts dropping facts from page 2 of a 200-page document, and your users notice before you do. Bad retrieval at scale means hallucinated answers, and hallucinated answers in a production app are a very bad time. Okay, so what I found here was pretty interesting. GLM 5.2 scored 83.3% retrieval accuracy at 25K tokens and 84.5% at 50K on real code AST tags, costing just 0.0208 ARN per trace at 25K. That's cheap. Kimi K3, I looked everywhere and there's just no public benchmark data at all. So the scorecards on screen show one side filled in and the other completely blank. I was expecting at least some Kimi K3 long context numbers to exist, but there's nothing to compare when one side hasn't shown up to the test. So this one's a tie by default, not by performance. Running score, GLM 5.2, 0, Kimi K3, 0, 1 tied. Test 2, Chinese language understanding. If your model outputs Chinese that reads like a bad translation, native speakers will clock it immediately and your product looks cheap. Machine-translated tone kills trust fast, and rebuilding that trust with users is way harder than just picking the right model up front. So for GLM 5.2, a community blog rated it 5 out of 5 stars for Chinese fluency, and a Business Insider reviewer said it was the first model where Chinese output didn't feel machine-translated. That's a real signal. What surprised me is that Kimi K3, also a Chinese origin model, has 0 independent Chinese language benchmarks I could find anywhere. Honestly, I was expecting Kimi K3 to have some Chinese language data since it's a Chinese-built model, but there's just nothing out there to verify. So same situation as the last test, no comparison is possible, and it's another tie. Score stays at GLM 5.20, Kimi K3 0, now 2 tests tied. Test 3, real-time information retrieval. If your model's knowledge cuts off and it can't search the web, it starts confidently answering questions with stale data, wrong stock prices, outdated API docs, news summaries from 6 months ago. Users don't forgive that, and they shouldn't have to. Both models do support web search, which is good. GLM 5.2 gives you search as an API tool you wire up yourself, while Kimi K3 has a built-in $sign web search function that's native. What I couldn't find for either model is any latency data or accuracy comparison for those search results, so the scorecards show both have the feature, and that's where the data stops. Now, the implementation difference is real, but it might not matter much in practice. Kimi K3's built-in search is more convenient, sure, but wiring up a tool in GLM 5.2 isn't exactly hard either. And without any latency or accuracy data for either one, calling a winner here would just be guessing. I was expecting one of these to pull ahead on search quality, but the data just isn't there. Both have the capability, neither has the proof. Another tie, and the running tally is now GLM 5.2, 0, Kimi K3 0, 3 tests tied with still no clean win for either side. Test 4, multimodal capability. Send an image to the wrong model and your whole workflow breaks. You're either spinning up a separate vision model, managing 2 API calls, or telling your users that feature doesn't work yet. And that's a real engineering cost that bites you way later than it should. Alright, so this is the clearest result in the whole comparison. Kimi K3 natively processes text, images, and video in one model, while GLM 5.2 is text only, full stop. If you need vision, you'd have to use GLM 5V Turbo, which is a completely separate product. The scorecards make this one obvious. One column has 3 check marks, the other has 1. Kimi K3 wins this one, and it's not close. I was expecting both models to at least have some image support, but GLM 5.2 has none natively, while Kimi K3 handles text, images, and video all in one place. First clean win of the comparison. That puts the score at GLM 5.2, 0. Kimi K3 1, 3 still tied. Test 5, inference speed. Slow responses are a real product problem if your model is hitting capacity limits or taking noticeably longer to respond. Users bounce, your costs per session go up, and your retry logic starts doing a lot of work it shouldn't have to do. Speed isn't just a nice to have once you're in production. So here's what I found, and it's a bit of a one-sided picture. A Business Insider review called GLM 5.2 noticeably slower and flagged frequent capacity issues, which is a real mark against it. But for Kimi K3, I couldn't find any speed or latency data at all. The scorecard basically shows a flag on GLM 5.2's side and a question mark on Kimi K3's. I was expecting at least one of these to have solid speed numbers, but Kimi K3 has none published, and GLM 5.2 has a bad review with no hard data either, so you can't call a winner when one side is unknown. Another tie, and the final score is GLM 5.2, 0, Kimi K3, 1, 4 tests tied. So here's where GLM 5.2 clearly has the edge. It's got proven long context retrieval with 83% plus accuracy on real code tasks. It's cheaper than Opus 4.8 at 0.02 per trace. Its Chinese output is rated 5 out of 5 stars, with reviewers saying it doesn't read like a translation. And you get a 1M token input window with a 128K output window. And here's where Kimi K3 wins outright. It's natively multimodal, so text, images, and video all go through one model with no separate vision component needed. Its web search is built in natively with no extra wiring, and it matches GLM 5.2's 1M context window while doing all of that in a single model call. Honestly, I was expecting a closer benchmark fight, but the real split is simpler than that. One test, one win. If you need to process images or video, Kimi K3 is the only choice here, full stop. If you need proven Chinese text quality and reliable long context retrieval at 0.02 a trace, GLM 5.2 is your pick.